Welcome to the TAMIKA Hall Show, where I hope to inspire and empower you to pursue your purpose with a vengeance. Grab your pen and paper while we go to the bestsellers list today with award-winning Christian authors Jacquelin Thomas and Vanessa Miller.
Well, hello. It's your girl, TAMIKA Hall. We're not ready. Hello. Listen, I guess you could tell I was really excited. I thought it was my turn to speak. It's your girl, TAMIKA Hall. You're tuned into the TAMIKA Hall Show, and we are live. So this is what I'm really excited about. We're in for a new season of the TAMIKA Hall Show, and what we're doing is we're going live 3 times a week. Oh, yes. But what's really exciting about it is we are bringing you musicians and artists and authors, and we're bringing you business owners. We are really cornering everything that God has put out there, and we are really returning everything back to the Kingdom Wall Street. I mean, that's the best way that I can put it. But I'm really excited to have you here with me tonight because I have 2 giants in the literary world, and they are here with me. Like, you have no idea. I'm so excited because these are folks, these 2 women have been part of my literary life since about 2005. So to actually have them together in the same virtual room, it feels like Christmas. It definitely feels like Christmas. So I'm really excited that all of you are joining me. Listen, this is what I need for you to do. Take a moment. Hi there, Danae. I see you hanging out with us. I see Cassandra hanging out with us. I need everybody to do me a favor. Share this out with people. If you are an author, Sharon, I see you hanging out with us too. If you are an author or you know somebody that is an author, honestly, this is the live masterclass that you want everybody to see. When you have 2 award-winning Christian fiction authors that are in one space and ready to chat, that is when you need to be there. So listen, without any further ado, I'm excited to bring Miss Vanessa Miller to the stage, Miss Jacquelin Thomas to the stage. I am so hyped to have the both of them join me. Hello, how are you guys doing tonight?
Doing great. Good. How are you?
How are you?
Well, you can tell I'm excited, right? Just a ball of energy here. I mean, I can't even, what can I say? We see Loida is in the house with us. I'm just really excited to have the 2 of you here and for us to speak about, I don't know, ministry, books, publishing. This is really going to be a great night. So let's hurry up and get started. So Jacquelin, Vanessa, both of you have new projects that are out. So we'll kick things off with you, Jacquelin. Talk to us about your newest project. Actually, I think you have 2 books that came out, right?
Yes, and they're actually reprints. They're not new projects. They're books that were published back in 2000, The Prodigal Husband and Defining Moments. And The Prodigal Husband deals with the issue of infidelity and restoring the marriage and restoring trust within that marriage. Defining Moments actually is a sequel and deals with a woman who was stricken with multiple sclerosis and basically how that changed her life in a positive way.
I love it. And so, Vanessa, you talk to us and tell us about your new project that you have out.
Well,
That's right.
Forever is the book that I published last year. So it's not really new yet, but if it's new to you, if you haven't read it yet. So check out Forever. Really, this is a book about Jewel and Jackson, and it is how they found their forever love. And their forever love was not just them, but it was also understanding the love they had for God as well, because, of course, I write Christian fiction. And I also will have 2 reprints coming out, but they're not ready yet. We're working on the covers. We're renaming them, and it's now going to be called the Dreaming About Love series. So I'm excited about that. That will be out later this year. And in 2022, my book, Something Good, will be coming out through Thomas Nelson. So that's what I have working on so far.
So the both of you have actually just mentioned the word reprint. So for somebody that's listening right now and, first, let's just start here. What is the difference between self-publishing and being traditionally published?
Well, I'm traditionally published. Mm-hmm. My first book was sold to Kensington Publishing, and in the last 5 years, I've also independently published books that I didn't sell to a publisher, but I believed in, so I put them out myself. So basically, being a traditional published author, you are working with a publisher. They have the rights just to publish that particular book for a certain amount of years. Whereas with being independently published, you do everything. You're the publisher, you're the marketing professional, you're the accountant, you're everything. Where traditionally published, you have a whole publishing team.
Yes,
Right.
yes, yes. So
And
Vanessa,
that's everything.
that's everything. And Vanessa, you started off self-publishing.
I did. I started with the Rain series. When I finished writing the Rain series in 2003, I was so excited about it. I didn't want to wait to try and actually I did turn it into one publisher, and what she suggested was that I change the story to where the character Isaac would no longer be. She did not really believe that I could write or people could write in Christian fiction stories about characters who were unsaved and were doing all sorts of ungodly stuff and then become saved in the same book. So she thought that you had to have them already saved when the book began, and I knew that was not the journey for the Rain series. So I said, well, I'm going to do this myself. And I just got excited about it. I went and purchased books on, and that's another thing. Writers are readers and researchers. So I researched how to do self-publishing, and that was the beginning of the Rain series. And I left Isaac the way he was, and we went for it.
And I'm going to tell you, so folks, I know you guys heard the excitement. You saw the excitement on my face. And I feel like I encountered both of your works around the same time. And with Vanessa, I actually reached out to Vanessa with my very first manuscript, Meet Me at the Altar, back in 2005, 2006. And, back then, I guess maybe she had a little bit more time, or maybe she just made some time for me. I don't know. God was good. And she read my manuscript or at least perused it and let me know that it was actually good and that there was substance there. But I definitely have always been an avid reader of both of your works, and every time you would put out something, I was always buying the next thing. And I remember saying, that's the type of audience that I want to capture. I want fans who can't wait until my next book comes out, or once they see that it's for pre-order, they're already purchasing it because they already know I'm going to deliver something great. Yeah. So I mean, again, I encountered you both really around 2005. How have you kept up all this time, constantly putting out new books, new fresh ideas? I know the two of you are doing a reprint, but you still have been producing new works. How do you continue to put out great stories and capture new audiences year after year?
Well, for me, I actually published my first book in 1997, and I started romance genre. And then around 2000, as I drew closer to the Lord, my writing changed, and it was my agent that noticed it. And so she said, there's something going on with you. And so she had me write the story I really, really wanted to tell. And that ended up being The Prodigal Husband. And so my Christian fiction career kind of took off after that, because she was the one that said, okay, I get it. You're a Christian fiction author. And so it kind of changed. So I write romance, young adult, women's fiction, and over the years, I've maintained, because I write multi-genre, I believe that has a lot to do with it. Now, my romances, a lot of times people are like, oh, you write romance. Oh, and I'm like, clean, sweet, clean, sweet, because I don't consider my writing it's not a hobby. For one thing, I'm a full-time writer, and I'm in my office 9 to 4, Monday through Friday.
Wow.
I treat it like a business. So I think that's another reason why I've been in this industry 25 years now. And so treating it like a business, I'm constantly writing. When I'm not writing, I'm reading books on the craft of writing. Sometimes I'll take a workshop or two, just to hone my skills. But I think for me, longevity has a lot to do with the fact that this is ministry for me as well. This is a calling that I know that God put on my heart. And I've tried to walk away. Vanessa can tell you, I've quit so many times. Like, I'm going to retire. In May, my 87th book is coming out.
Wow.
So, you know what I mean? I feel like I've had a good run of it, but God keeps giving me these stories. And so I'm not done yet.
I love it. You're not done yet. You're not done yet. Listen, folks, I already told you that this is like a mini master class. So if you're not paying attention, if you're not taking notes, I don't know what to tell you. So, I mean, if you've ever considered wanting to be a full-time author, you just dropped something on us that you treat it like a business. What about you, Vanessa? Because you're full-time now as well, right?
Yes, I've been full-time for a long time now. I would say since 2005, I've been a full-time author, and I'm thankful for that, because I know it didn't have to be that way. But it's also because if you want to write, writers need books. You can't have one book and think I'm going to just make a living off of this one book. I mean, maybe there's somebody out there that could do it. I wouldn't be able to do it. And so, and it's having numerous books out that, you know, kind of helps with that. But I felt like I was not keeping up, because I would have now let me say this. I started off as self-published. Then I've had about 4 or 5 publishers since that time. And then I went back out on my 2015 was the last book I had published with a publisher. And so I was trying to do it on my own. But as I've gotten older and have more responsibilities, you know, like these grandkids that I now have, and I was just like, it's too much, because like Jacquelin, I treat it like a business. I have an office in my home, and I tell people, you know, I'm not just at home just sitting here. I actually work from home, and that's why I have this home office. And so that was one of the major reasons why I decided to then go back to a publisher, because people were calling me, emailing me saying, well, how come we can't find your books in the bookstores anymore? And so I said, okay, we're going to solve that problem. so, you know, some things you can do, and some things, you know, you need to partner with people to get done. And you just have to know, you know, which is which.
I mean, do you find that you have less freedom working with a publisher? Or, you know, like you said, there's just benefits and there's pros and cons to both?
I just feel like there's pros and cons to both. I mean, because of course, when you're doing it all on your own, you have the freedom to do whatever you want, but you also have the freedom to not, you know, have your book in bookstores like you want.
Right.
And so it's like, do I want that freedom, or do I want to be able to reach as many people as I possibly can? And for this next phase of my writing, I just decided, okay, I really would like to partner with someone so I can reach, regain even readers that I've had that were like, you know, still looking for my books in bookstores, and they weren't there anymore. That's just the way it goes.
That's just the way it goes. You have something to say, Jacquelin?
Well, I was just going to say, I think that there's a big misunderstanding when it comes to traditional versus independent publishing. Because independent writers believe that basically their soul if they go to a publisher, that they are losing control. And I guess I've been fortunate in the 25 years again that I've been in this business. My editors have always any feedback has always been suggestions, not commandments.
Right.
I've been able to, you know, push back on things I did not believe it was great, you know, for my story. It doesn't move the story forward. It's not my character, you know, and once I explained the situation or whatever, you know, they would kind of leave me alone. They would back off. So I did have an element of control, even when it comes to, you know, they send me the cover art, you know, they send me, you know, titles. and things like that. So I have feedback. I can say yay or nay on this and that. So you're not totally giving up all your rights when you're traditionally published, like some
Right.
people believe. That's
Right.
not been my experience. And I've
Right.
worked for Simon and I mean, I've written for Simon and Schuster, Kensington, Penguin Publishers,
Oh,
Hachette, all of them.
Mhm.
So it's never been my experience.
Right. I
nice.
haven't had many problems either. It's just I think what people don't understand is that if a publisher feels like if they feel strongly that this is really going to help sell your book, then that's when they are really kind of like, well, we need to do it this way. And it's really because they want what you want, book sales.
Right,
Right.
right. Ultimately, that's what they want. And I appreciate the both of you really giving a different take on, what it is to work, as a self-publisher and a self-published author, and then to turn around and decide, what, I'm going to work with the actual publisher. And just the fact that what I also heard is just like the shifting. There's a point where you have to lean into the shift, and where we start is not always how we're going to end. And, Vanessa, like you said, you're like, look, I got these grandbabies I want to spend time with. So I don't want to spend time having to constantly see why has this store taken my book off the shelf,
Right.
and different things like that.
Right.
There really is a whole nother level. I want to very quickly ask you. So when I really encountered both of your books, it really was a blessing for me, because at the time I was writing the book, Meet Me at the Altar. I loved romance novels. I didn't really like how raunchy they would get, but I loved romance. And I actually had a pastor that said to me, I was coming out of a divorce, and I was writing about love because it was something I felt like I didn't have. So it was my way to write about what I felt like love really looked like. And she actually said to me, she said, I'm going to pray that spirit off of you, And I remember, I guess I was rebellious at, what was I? I was like 20, 23, I was rebellious, and I was just, I'm going to write this book anyway, and ended up getting it internationally distributed, and all those things. But I felt like, I think I had the chutzpah to do it because I was reading your stuff. And I'm like, if they're writing this and people, and that was before Facebook and we had Instagram, like it was before all this was big. So it's like, I knew who you guys were. I was part of your email list, and I was able to connect with both of you. And I'm like, you have readers. You can't tell me this is not of God. Like, I was like, love is a beautiful thing. So have you ever had, I guess, naysayers or haters or people who were like, no, this is not okay? And I know, Vanessa, you said you had a publisher that actually said to you, like, you can't have that transformation in a book.
Right. That they just didn't want to, they didn't believe that you can really show a transformation. And I just felt strongly because I knew that I had been redeemed. I was reborn. And I knew that there's an experience like that people needed to see and needed to believe in for themselves. Like I felt strongly that if a reader was reading a book like that, that would help them to believe, if God could save this person, even though they're fictional, then he could also help me. He can deliver me. And I have had so many emails from people who told me, because of reading those, the Rain series, it shifted something for them. And so I really believe that I was born to write that series. And so I'm thankful I wrote it, but I will tell you, while writing it, I was going, why am I writing about people like this?
I mean,
I was scared myself.
Like,
I handed it to my pastors because I was like, look, if I'm not supposed to write this, then tell me no, and I won't go any further, because I thought it was weird myself. But then I realized I just write about real people, because I know we have a real God who is able to handle and take care of anything that we get ourselves into. And so then I became comfortable with it. I'm like, hey, let's just roll with these people.
I love it. I love it. I love it. What about you, Jacquelin? I mean, have you encountered people who wanted to say to you, that's not what you should be writing if this is a ministry, book that's coming from a faith-based, background? Or
Yes, when I first started out, I had people And I'm like, but if you've never read one, then you know that my people aren't having gratuitous sex, and there's all this stuff in there. It's about love. It's about romance. And so, with writing Christian fiction, from Christian publishers, in that it was too secular, that my books were too secular.
Wow.
Character that had thong panties on, made a big deal about that. And I'm thinking, nobody's going to know. It's only because I wrote it in the book. But, it's not like she's wearing, things like that. I had a publisher one time, my character married, they were celebrating their 20th wedding anniversary, and they had 6 kids. And so I had to actually create an argument in their bedroom so that he wouldn't see her undress, that she would storm off to the bathroom and undress. And I'm thinking, these people have been married 20 years, they have 6 kids, they were married, not engaged, not dating, they were married. So, and that was early in my career. And that was kind of a bit discouraging. And that was during the time when I decided maybe I should self-publish my Christian fiction novels, because I don't write my books. And I had to actually tell someone that interviewed me this, because he challenged me on the fact that, Christian fiction, he goes, those 2 words just don't seem to go together. Why aren't you writing about the works of Christ? And I'm like, because the Bible's already been written. I don't need to do that. But what God told me to do, Christians should know God. So I don't write my books for Christians per se. I write my books for people like me who have a yearning, who love God, but we fall daily. I write about, I want people that won't go into a church or read a Bible. They'll read a Jacquelin Thomas novel. They'll read a Vanessa Miller Pierce novel, because they can relate. These are imperfect people who have a yearning. Sometimes they don't know that yearning's for the Lord. They just know that they're searching for something. And so that's the tone of my writing. And that's what God has called me to do. And, like I had to tell a former agent of mine one time, it's down to, regardless of what anybody else wants, the publishers, whatever, on Judgment Day, I have to answer for what I've written, not you.
Right. Jacqueline,
me.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, when God asked me why I didn't do what he told me to do, you guys are going to back away. And I'm standing alone. So
yeah, looking around saying, well, Lord, they told me not to write it. So that's why I didn't do it, Lord.
So I had to actually take a sabbatical, pray and think about that. And finally, I just came to the conclusion, I trust God, and I'm going to do it his way. And I haven't missed a meal. I've been a full-time writer 20 years, and God has made a way for us. So I trust God.
I love it. Now, with the both of you being full-time, can you take us into, what does a typical day look like as a full-time writer? Are you literally plucking away, or what does that look like? Because for me, I'm just like, I don't know if I would want to stare at my computer all that time, but so what does that look like? What's that,
Well, for me, I start my morning off going over my calendar to see what I have to do. I go through emails. So my morning is pretty much spent going through emails. Now is pretty much spent working on social media, because I've been commanded to be more active on social media. I'm actually working on like a calendar. I'm blogging now too on my website. So I have a brand new website and I'm blogging. So every Monday I try to do a new blog. So that's what my morning is like. I probably spend, I would say, maybe 5 hours actually writing. I spend a lot of my mornings too doing research on my books. If it's a new character, I spend time doing a character bio. My character bios are anywhere from 8 to 10 pages. So really, because I need to know these people in order to write about them.
Listen, folks, let me just very quickly, if you're just tuning in, we are experiencing the evening masterclass with Miss Vanessa Miller-Pierce and Miss Jacquelin Thomas. And these are heavy hitters in Christian fiction. Listen, y'all, they're dropping nuggets, and they're dropping nuggets that people paid for. So I'm trying to tell you, share this out with people. Thank you for everybody that's already been sharing. Those of you that are already here, I'm going to open up the floor and give you an opportunity to ask a question, because we're going to be getting out of here soon, because I want them to get their beauty rest so they can do it all again tomorrow. So if you have a question, when I let you know, start putting them in the chat so that I'll be able to throw it onto the screen. Okay. So, Shantae is saying, I needed this too. Help me, please. We have Cassandra, who's been in there. She's given us a lot of hand claps. We have Queen D Handy that's saying, I needed this. So we have a lot of folks that are here saying that they needed it. And so thank you so much for just being open and transparent. So Vanessa, what does the day look like for you?
Well, the days are different for me now that I started the Christian Book Lovers Retreat. So I can get up thinking, okay, I'm going to write today. And then all of a sudden I'm caught in some type of whirlwind of I have to advertise for the Christian Book Lovers Retreat, or I have to answer a bunch of questions for that. And like today, actually, I said this whole week, because I have been kind of not doing my job with Christian Book Lovers Retreat. So this whole week is my Christian Book Lovers Retreat week. So I get up in the morning, I say, okay, let me see what are we doing. So I'm putting together the banners. Then I'm advertising them. I just put the new schedule on our website. But when I have that out of the way, I try, I'm like Jackie, I'll write out an outline for my characters it may not be, no, sometimes mine goes pretty long, so never mind. So because I like to have it, sometimes I'll just jump into a book, and when I do that, I regret it. Because once I jump into it, I cannot get out of it, and I'll just write it, but I don't know anything about where they're going. And so I do not like to do that. I normally like to start and just say, okay, who are these characters? And so before writing, I'm sketching something out, and then once I start writing, you can't just sit and write the whole day. At least I cannot. I have friends who, they are masters at it. They are getting like 8,000 words a day, Rhonda McKnight, and so, and Vanessa Riley. And so now I used to be able to do about 5,000. I'm not doing that these days, and I'm happy with it, because at least I'm getting my books done. And so I'm like, I just finished a 90,000 word book, and I was like, what? You did that? Because I have never written a 90,000 word book in my life. The most was like 75,000 words. But you just go at your own pace, and you don't worry about anybody else's pace, because every word on that page is going to get you closer to writing the end. So you just, I'm normally a slower beginner as far as with my writing. I have to get to know the characters before once I get to know them though, like when I start, I'm probably doing 500 words. And then as I get to know them, I'm doing, I can do 3,000 words a day. And then I just ride on through it. But at the beginning, it goes slow for me, and then I'm at least 3,000 words a day person.
What I love and what I'm hearing,
my goal is 5,000 a day.
That's your goal.
I usually exceed it, so.
Yes. But what I love about what the both of you have said, and I don't know if everybody caught it, it's intention. You're actually writing with intention. And I love the fact that you talked about the research, that you talked about getting to know the character, because I think so many times we really do just want to write. And I used to always say, do an outline. That's usually been the extent of what I've done. I've never done a character bio, but I've been feeling this call to write, some romance again. And so now I'm going to do it with a different intention, because it really is fun when you meet your character, and it's like you can hear what they're saying, and you feel their emotions. And so I love that writing with intention. It's just so important. Hello there, AK Parker. How are you doing? Listen, folks, if you're just tuning in, what I need for you all to do, please start putting your questions in the chat. I see Miss Danae, you're putting your questions there, and we'll make sure that you have an opportunity to ask them. I did want to ask you all, do both of you have agents? And I would say, when should somebody start looking for a literary agent? Because that's a question I get all the time. I work in self-publishing. I help people self-publish. And everybody's always like, well, how do I find an agent? And I'm like, I've always said you have to kind of prove yourself as a writer. But I know you can give more insight because you actually have agents. So please let us know what that's about.
Well, now my very first agent, with the Night Agency, I was her first, I think her first client and her first sale. So I guess the timing was good. And it was back in 1997. I am now still with the Night Agency. I'm back with them. I been with another agent previously for a little bit, but I am back with the Night Agency. I enjoy having an agent. She keeps me focused and on point. And so it's just good for me. It's good business. Now, finding an agent, I think you do have to have a full manuscript, or at least a strong partial, but they want to know that you can finish the book, because the publisher is going to want, if you're brand new, the publisher is going to want you to have a full manuscript. You see what I'm saying? So it's best, even with the agent, once you finish your manuscript, once it's been edited and polished and you feel like it's at its best, then you should submit to different agents and do your research. There's a guide to literary agents that Barnes and Nobles, Amazon, they all carry it, but it's a current directory of literary agents and what they're looking for. I believe there's some websites online as well. Join a writers group like Romance Writers of America, Mystery Writers of America, Society of Children Book Writers and Illustrators. Whatever you're writing, there's something there for it. Join the Authors Guild. Attend events like CBLR, the Christian Book Lovers Retreat. Last year, you had an editor there, and did you have an agent there too, as well, Vanessa?
Yes, we had an editor and an agent, and this year we have several editors and 2 agents that will be coming.
Yes. So events like that will bring in, you get an opportunity to pitch. So you have about 5 to 10 minutes to sit with an agent and pitch your book. But it's best to pretty much have it written, because they may mostly ask for it. And then if you haven't written a thing,
right.
It doesn't it doesn't reflect well. So it's good to at least have your book, at least a draft,
reflect well.
Now, can I take that one as well? Because it was a little different for me. I had queried a few agents, just querying, and I wasn't able to get an agent, just querying, just like that. And then what happened for me, because I was self-published at first, I was already with my first publisher, Urban Christian, because they had started their publishing company. And then I just happened to ask another author that I met. Networking with authors is very helpful. So that's one thing I wanted to say. And I just happened to ask her who was her agent. And I love my agent. I've been with her, Natasha Kern. She's my one and only agent. I have not, the years when I stepped away and I was not publishing with a publisher, she and I still stayed in contact. That's why I'm telling you, I love her. And then when I was ready to come back, she was like, Vanessa, let's put something out there. And she has been wonderful to me. And so someone recommended me to her. And so then she looked at my work off of a recommendation from an author who was already with her. So sometimes you can get an agent to look at your work if you happen to know an author that's with them, and if the author looks at your work and says, oh, okay, I like what you're doing, and they may go ahead and say, well, I'll give my agent this recommendation, something like that. That's sometimes kind of hard to get because it's kind of hard. They're not going to recommend everybody to their agent, and that's just the way it is. But like Jackie was saying, if you go also to different conferences where those editors and agents are, even though you're not able necessarily to get in the door with them doing just a regular query, because your stuff may sit in a pile somewhere for years if you're just sending out query letters because they're busy. But if you're at one of those conferences and you sign up, you're going to get a pitch session where you actually get a face-to-face with an editor or an agent, and you're able to go ahead and plead your case and kind of talk it up. This is why I want to do this, and even my agent and I, we tag team. Even though I have an agent, I would go to different conferences. If we pinpointed, let's say, an editor I wanted to work with, I would go ahead and I would do a pitch. She's probably already sent over my stuff to that editor, and I would sign up for that pitch session, and I would just go in and introduce myself, and I would say, I know Natasha sent you my work, and I would just, smile real nice and be like, hey, I'm nice. Don't you want to work with me? And so I mean, it's different ways that you can get this done, but you have to be active and you have to be in there really working at it, and that sometimes gives you a leg up because they actually met you, and so then they may look at your work, whereas it may have just been in a pile somewhere. So I know it costs more to go to these conferences, but a lot of authors get deals by going to different conferences, and that's just the way it is.
So Vanessa, we've been kind of like talking about the Christian Book Lovers Retreat, but tell us about that, because we already have questions that are lining up, but I want to give people an opportunity that if they have a question about either one of your events that are going on, that they can hear about them. So tell us about the Christian Book Lovers Retreat.
Well, the Christian Book Lovers Retreat is a retreat that we do here in Charlotte, North Carolina. We've been doing it since 2016, and it's me and my fabulous board members. I love them. Shout out to the CBLR board. And we just put on an event that is faith, fun, fellowship, and a whole lot of books. So we have authors that come in, and we do a book fair, but we also do pampering sessions for the ladies. We have man cave. They can bring their husbands, and they can go to a man cave and straight talk, while we ladies, we've done paint parties. We've done we've done so much. We've done a 70s party. We just have fun. I just believe that, life is short. So why not enjoy yourself, as long as all in good, clean fun. As long as it's good, clean fun, I'm there for it. And our people really enjoy it, and they come back year after year. And so and the retreat has been growing. But this year, because of the pandemic, we're also doing a virtual author extravaganza, and Jacquelin is one of our panelists on one of our It's Been There, Done That panel session. We want new authors who are coming in to understand about this business, and the ups and downs, the good times, and the waiting times. Been there, done that. And so that's one of the sessions that we have at the author extravaganza, which is virtual. Both events, let me tell you, June 24th through the 26th is the virtual author extravaganza. And October 28th through the 31st, 2021 is our in-person retreat, if God says so, and we get this vaccination. I'm waiting on them to call my name. And so anyway, so that one is in October, and it will be in Charlotte, North Carolina again. And we have a fabulous hotel that we have it at, and it's just going to be fun. So we're going to have a good time. So I hope some of you can join us. And our website is www.christianbookloversretreat.com.
Yes, yes, yes. So folks, make sure that you are going to christianbookloversretreat.com. I do definitely, I'd like to really be in the building. So Jacquelin, I know that you have a writer's boot camp. I just released an anthology just last month, and one of my authors was actually like, hey, should I attend this? And I was like, yeah, Jacquelin Thomas, oh my God, so tell us about the boot camp and how people can connect with you.
Well, they can connect with me on Facebook at Jacquelin Writes, on my website, www.jacquelin-thomas.com. And my writer's boot camp, like I said, mentioned earlier to you, I normally do them at sea, where we actually I teach on a cruise ship. And I do that because I want writers to learn how to write authentically about some of the places that we visit, but the one that I'm doing is virtual. It starts March 18th this month. The 18th of this month is for 4 weeks on a Thursday night from 7:30 to 9. And we are talking about the basic elements of fiction, but going a little deeper with setting and characterization, really creating those three-dimensional characters, just the whole element of fiction series. So I'm excited about that, and working with authors is something that I love doing, is working with other authors. However, that would be the only workshop I'll be able to do this year because of writing commitments.
So folks, you better get in there, get in where you fit in. Go ahead.
I have a question for Jackie. So are you going to show the people where they would have gone this year if it wasn't for this pandemic?
Oh, yes. We were going to Italy, Venice, Italy for 3 days. And then we were going to get on a cruise ship and sail. So it was going to be great. We had 47 people signed up, and we were just really, it was going to be great. But we can still be great, even virtually.
That's right. That's right. And can we be great doing that next year?
Look, talk about making writing sexy, right? Like,
yes. Yes, I'm thinking about that, Vanessa. I'm thinking about that.
Okay.
The travel. And I can read people's books and tell if they visited someplace that they're writing about, because the flavor should be there. And if the flavor isn't there, I know that they've never been there. So that's the purpose of me teaching these boot camps at sea, is because I want them to actually be able to infuse the flavor of the content they're writing about.
That's good.
That is good. That is good. Okay, friends. We're getting ready to get out of here, but I'm talking to all my friends over here on Facebook. We have some questions for you. If you can hang out with us for a couple more minutes, that would be such a pleasure. All right, let's see here. Let me scroll up. All right, Mr. Nate. What do you feel the best? All right. Let me see here. Ms. Danae says, have you ever felt it necessary to avoid writing your book because of close proximity of someone that you truly know?
Not me. I don't really write about people that I know. If I do, I kind of blend them, so that nobody knows who I'm writing about. So I would take 2 or 3 people and kind of blend their characteristics, people with similar personalities and things like that. But I truly like to write about characters that I see in my head and just bring them to life. I don't necessarily need to. I people watch only because I'm studying their gestures, the way that they talk, the way that they respond, expressions, things like that. So I watch people for that reason, not to really write about them. Although I've met some interesting characters that I would love to write about.
Right. And I just really believe fiction should be fiction as far as those characters. Now, when you're writing fiction, you want to create a world that seems real. So you have to write about a lot of reality that goes on within fiction, but you don't want to write the reality, in my opinion, if you're writing a fictional novel, the reality of your brother because they will sue you. And you let that book go and make all types of money, they will want some of that money. So what you want to do is just draft a character. Now they can have, like Jackie was saying, certain traits of people you might know, but there's no need to write about a full-blown person and then put them in a fictional novel, because and their family, their friends, they recognize themselves. Don't do it. Don't do it.
You to take all the coins that they think that you're getting in the beginning, and I agree. Just kind of steer away from that. Queen D Handy says, did you ever have fear that your book wasn't going to be successful?
Every time I put a book out, I get
really now the 87.
Every time, even with the reprints, they came out, I got sick because I worry, is it good enough? Should I have updated it? But because there's a third book in that series, I really couldn't update it the way that I wanted to because the timeline would have been off. So, but I feel like I'm a much better writer now. And those books came out back then. And so, yes, I always worry. Well, let me take that back, because worry means that I'm not trusting God, and I'm going to trust God with it. But my flesh, yes, I fear, I fight it, but I fear that my books will not be successful. And after 87 books, I still feel this way. So I can't tell you it will ever go away.
Wow.
I think every writer has that issue, because you're writing it and you think, oh yeah, this is good as you're writing it, but you don't know what the world is going to think once you put it out there. So there's a little bit of insecurity with putting it out into the world, but you wrote it, so you've got to put it out there. But I think everybody has that, and I'm with Jackie. Each book I'm going, oh, what are they gonna think? Are they gonna like this book? I know I put my heart and soul into it, but what are they gonna think? And I'll tell you, even with like my first series, I was shocked, because I said Christians are not going to want to read this. So I thought I'm writing for just the unbeliever. And so that's what I was saying. And then when I would get all these emails and get invited to different churches, I was so shocked.
Wow.
So yes, we never know how something is gonna do and what it's meant to do, but God knows, and our job is just to put it out there and just to sit back and go, oh, what are they gonna say?
Right. I mean, have you ever had a book that you would consider to have flopped?
Thankfully, no. Some books did better than others. For me, The Prodigal Husband actually did very, very well. It was my best-selling book, and people have still been asking about this book. And again, this was a book that came out in like 2000, so that's why I reprinted it. And even in just the couple of weeks it's been out, is still doing well. And a lot of people did not know Defining Moments was actually the sequel, because BET Books put out Prodigal. And then I ended up going to Penguin Publishers, and they put out the sequel. So people didn't connect the dots. Now I'm doing it as a series. And then there's actually a third book that I never put out. So it's actually going to be a 3-book series. So it's doing well. It's doing well. It's surprising, because I'm thinking it's a reprint. But I realize there are people that read me now that did not read my earlier book.
Correct.
So it's exciting picking up new readers, and but there goes that angst of, are they going to like it like they did back then?
Yeah. Well, what about you, Vanessa? Have you experienced a flop, or has it been been pleasantly surprised?
I've always been pleasantly surprised with my books, my readers. The one thing I had prayed about, especially with my books, when people review my books, I've always wanted them to go turn back to God with my reviews and to credit God. And when they do that, I'm going, I did my job in that book. And so
Wow.
I can always tell, to me, that okay, they got the message in the book. But I will say there was one book I wrote that I felt like I could have done a much better job on it. And matter of fact, it's one of the ones I'm re-releasing. And since I got and re-release means the book was with the publisher and we received our rights back to the book. And so that's why I'm actually changing the whole thing, because because I now have the rights back. I'm rewriting one of the books in that series. So when people get it, it will actually be probably 70% different than what it was before, because I was like, I could have done something else different. And so I'm like, hey, it's mine now. I'm getting ready to do what I want to do with it.
Good stuff. Well, thank you so much for just giving us all this terminology. And of course, everyone that's tuned in listening, I'm going to throw up one last question, but everybody that's tuned in, make sure that you go to Jacquelin Thomas's website so that you can sign up for her Writers Boot Camp. I saw in the comments that there are already people signed up for the boot camp, Miss Jackie. And make sure that you go to the ChristianBookLoversRetreat.com, because you'll really learn what all of this terminology means. I don't feel like it's fair, because I know if I asked you, you probably would tell us, but I don't feel like it's fair for me to ask you to go into all the details of terminology. Some of that we really have to do our due diligence and our research, and we have to be willing to, the Bible says that a man is worthy of their hire. And so, I think that we should sow back into you as well. So make sure that you're sowing into these women. Make sure that you're sowing into their ministries and you're buying their books. Like I said, I'm always that one that's like buying the next book, right? So I've been really excited to do that. Thank you so much, Angela. Angela wanted to make sure that we knew it's Christian Book Lovers Retreat. Also, Jacquelin, she did say, in case you didn't see it, she said she's ready for book 3. So you definitely have people that love the books and they're ready. They are so ready. The last question that I'm going to throw up, because I do think that this is something I think a lot of people struggle with, is whether or not they should be happy with what they're doing. So Ms. Danae says, as a self-publisher, I feel so frustrated getting it completed and learning as I go. Should this time be difficult or a joyful time? And I think we could take that, not even just in the publishing, but even for those that are writing, because we have a lot of writers that I personally know and some that I don't know. And it's like, some of them have been working on books for years, and other people are like, I've always wanted to start. I mean, but should this be difficult, or should they just be excited all the time?
For me, oh, go ahead, Vanessa.
Go ahead. I was just wondering if it's the person's first book, because that's difficult.
Before. So I think Ms. Danae's working on her second book.
Oh, okay. I think a lot of times the frustration comes from having unrealistic expectations. I think that you have to focus. Sometimes our mind jumps ahead. Okay, we're thinking about this book we're writing, how we're going to sell it, how is it going to stack against somebody else's book? Not that we're looking at competition, but just comparable titles. And we're kind of overthinking it, and we're not enjoying the journey. Writers write. So just write the book. Worry about all that other stuff when you have a finished product. And I think sometimes we just jump ahead, even as a traditional published author, there are times it is difficult. It gets hard. It gets a little, it's like, oh, I'm going to retire now. I'm just going to retire. I've written enough books. I don't have, but what it is that I'm frustrated at the moment. So walk away. Like we would tell you in corporate America, when you're feeling that frustration, get up from your desk and walk away for about 5 minutes, or 10 minutes or whatever, and come back and then kind of look at it with the new eye. And so what I would say, even in writing, remember why you're writing. And see, what I tell people, I write for me. I write for me. And as long as I'm writing for me, I love it. I love it. This is a gift that I am so grateful for and I'm passionate about because writing has been my voice. I was very, very shy as a child and I still suffer, and I'm a big introvert. So writing is my voice to the world. You know, in this book, I can do and be anything I want to be. So I love it. And I think that you have to remember your why. You have to remember your why.
And
So
I would just
yeah,
say anything worth having is worth fighting for. And also, are you doing your research? A lot of times frustration comes because you don't understand the industry. You don't understand how, are you signing up for, I find myself, even after being in this business for all this time, and I just told one of my author friends earlier, I felt so terrible about myself after I took a Goodreads workshop, because I'm sitting there thinking I was signed up as a Goodreads author all this time, and I'm just on Goodreads, I just have an account there, but I never filled out the rest of the information to be an official Goodreads author. And I was like, shame on you, shame on you.
I need to check
But
and see if I'm
you
official.
better check it, and I'm gonna tell you how to do it, because it'll say right to the right, Goodreads author. If it doesn't say that up there, there's another step you have to do. And but this is the thing: if you take the time to find out what the things that you don't know that you need to know, that's gonna help ease some of the tension with writing. If this is what you're called to do, everybody's not called to be a writer. I just don't believe that. I've never subscribed to that. I would never just tell everybody, oh, just write, because I don't believe everybody's called to be a writer. Just like I wouldn't sit here and try and sing for you right now, because I cannot. so, but if you are called to be a writer, if you know within your heart, this is what I'm called to do, then just do the work. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's a lot of work. It really is. But that's anything you're going to go to. It takes a lot of work. And at first it doesn't look like, you're making much progress, but little by little, you'll begin to see things grow for you if you take the time to do your research. Take the time to take different classes that are offered, different workshops. Like Jackie's workshop. I'm sure even while she's teaching people about writing, she's going to be talking about the business of writing. She'll probably throw some different things in, because this is a business, and so. But it's a business that needs to be learned, because there's a lot to it, and it changes. It has changed so much from when I even first started. All the things I learned to do when I first started as an author, most of them don't even matter anymore. So it's like I've had to relearn different skills even now. So it's always a process, and so it'll work if you work it. I didn't hear you, Jack.
I just say you have to be flexible.
Yes.
You have to be able to adapt to the different times, because again, we've been in this business a long time, and it is ever evolving.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for just everything that the both of you have poured into all of us. I initially said I was not going to keep you this long, and then here I am keeping you long. But this has just been incredible, and I really just appreciate the both of you. Please, before we go, Jacquelin, let us know, how can people connect to you? Tell us again about the boot camp, whatever it is that you want to say, so that folks can make sure that they are connected once we leave off the air.
Well, they can reach me. Actually, you can reach me on Clubhouse. You can reach me on Facebook at Jacquelin Writes. You can meet me Instagram, Twitter under Jacquelin Thomas. Pretty much I'm on all the social media platforms, Pinterest, everywhere. And May 25th, May 25th, if you would go out and purchase my brand new book with Harlequin Heartwarming. And it's called A Family for the Firefighter. And that's my brand new book and it's my 87th title.
My goodness. I mean, I just the 87. Look, I feel proud when I'm like, yes, I've written over a dozen books. Goodness, never mind. Like
no, it's just been a blessing.
Excited. I'm just being silly, but man, 87 books. I think that is just incredible. Vanessa, tell us how can people stay connected to you off air? How can they get to the Christian Book Lovers Retreat? Give us all of the goods.
Well, my website is just VanessaMiller.com. However, it is being revamped right now. So you can reach me on Facebook. I have an author page because my Vanessa Miller Pierce page stays at 500. So even though if you go over there and you see you cannot join there is a Vanessa Miller author page. So please follow me on that. And you can also follow me on Instagram at author Vanessa Miller. And I believe my Facebook is author Vanessa Miller as well. And I'm on Twitter as well. So remember, forever. I'm not as fast as Jackie, but also she was writing 1997. My first book didn't come out until 2003. This is book number 50.
What?
So Forever is my 50th book. So if you haven't read it, please check it out. I think you will enjoy it. This one is romance, and what I am going into beginning next year is women's fiction. I'm loving the women's fiction stories that I am now writing. So I hope you will join me with those as well.
I love it. Well, folks, listen, tonight has just been incredible. I told you that we were going to get so much out of, and I keep calling them giants in the industry, 50 books published, 87 books published, and then having the choice to write independently or, to decide whether or not they're going to go with the publisher. Like, how incredible is that? If you ever had the dream to do it, you can do it. So I'm hoping that you're feeling inspired, that you're feeling motivated, and you're feeling empowered to pursue your passion just a little bit more. We heard about the fact that it's difficult. It takes work. We also learned that it's a business and we have to treat it like a business. And we learned that we have to be intentional with our writing. We had so many nuggets tonight. Actually, I'm going to encourage you to go back and watch it again. But I'm also going to encourage you to make sure that you connect to Jacquelin Thomas by going to www.jacquelin-thomas.com. Make sure that you sign up for her Writers Bootcamp. It starts on the 18th. That's coming before you know it. I also encourage you to go to VanessaMiller.com. Make sure that you also sign up for the Christian Book Lovers Retreat or you do the virtual book extravaganza. Listen, so many opportunities for people to stay connected. Angela, I want to make sure that both of these incredible women see that you said thank you for sharing. Jacquelin, oh, that was for me. Oh, no, that's not for me. That's for y'all. Hold on. Let me fill you up here. Look at that, me taking your praise. I was like, oh, that's for me. No, that wasn't for me. So Angela, thank you so much for joining us and hanging out with us. Danae says, my hands were busy, so can you please send me both names to search out? Can the both of you just release the names of your books one more time so that Miss Danae can have that?
My books are The Prodigal Husband and Defining Moments.
Forever is the newest book. This one came out last year. Forever.
I'm sitting up here trying to have quick fingers, but it's hard when you have nails. To make sure that you all have that. Please go and support them. But listen, you have access to all of their books if you go to their website for sure. Shantae says, yes, thank you. Yes. AK Author says, fantastic. Angela agrees. This was a great masterclass. I mean, this was it really was incredible. And Miss Danae just abundantly is saying, thank you. Listen, friends, we learned tonight anything worth having it's worth fighting for. We learned that we need to let go of unrealistic expectations. And above everything else, I want you to know that I love you, that you were created to make God famous. And I want you to know that you've been anointed to do hard things. So you all have a blessed evening and join me here tomorrow. I'll be here tomorrow at 7 p.m. Everybody have a blessed night.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.